Hi, Ms. Arias. Sorry I couldn't make it to class to give you my presentation in person, but here goes my speech on greed and money. There are numerous flaws and problems in our society today, and until something is done, they will continue to grow and worsen. Greediness and hunger for power are two problems that mankind has faced since our existence. Today, we are faced with first-world countries caught up in luxuries and personal indulgences, while there are millions of people dying from starvation and disease in other parts of the world. Empathy and compassion are slowly diminishing in our current society. Most people would agree that there is too much greed in the world, but things such as power, money, fame, and politics are turning the best people into selfish and greedy individuals. In order for the human race to progress as a whole, for the greater good, we must minimize the amount of greed in the population. The excess of power and greed within a society has caused many economies to fail, wars to break out, and issues to be dealt with by the majority of the population who has little to no control. I have found that the origin of most greed is money. Aristotle discusses money in Book 1 of the Politics. He asked the question, why do we have money? The conclusion he came to was that in order for an exchange to take place and be just, there has to be an equality in the two items exchanged. Money was thought to enable us to be able to measure this equality. This idea that Aristotle originated was false. In an exchange, there is not an equality, but a double inequality. What I mean by this double inequality is that, for example, if two people were to exchange two separate items, for instance, if I was to exchange an apple for an orange with you, for instance, to you, you find more value in the apple that I have, which is why you are willing to trade me your orange for it. And I personally find more value in the orange, so I trade you the apple. Double inequality. We're not both saying that apples and oranges are equal in our own personal beliefs, but it's actually that they are unequal. Doubly. Right. Okay, so, flaws in our society. Today's society is structured where one must accumulate money in order to succeed or thrive at life. Carrot Top, perfect example. This is a growing issue that causes people to think and act selfishly. This problem has been present since the existence of mankind, but the few people with enough power to make a difference are far too greedy to care about other problems, so little or no efforts are made by those in control to give a chance and make a change to the way people view and value money. Due to the media and greed of current individuals and organizations in control, the population is forced to rely heavily on money more and more to be happy. This is an issue that isn't going to go away until affirmative actions are taken. The majority of people in our society have an extreme misunderstanding of the meaning of happiness. The media has practically brainwashed people into feeling that money and material things bring happiness. Plato would argue that the just man is happier. Glaucon, on the other hand, would argue that the unjust man is happier. I can find reasons to support both sides, but they depend heavily on the definitions used for justice and happiness. I think that the population as a whole misjudges what happiness is and how it's achieved. Minimizing the greediness that is overwhelming our society is the only way to restore our population. Hannah Arendt, who we studied in class, talked about expanding one's sphere of influences either through fame, money, politics, terrorism, or whatever means necessary. I would like to propose a solution that could possibly put an end to the desire of accumulating money and greed. The first step to my solution is teaching critical thinking and moral philosophy to all kids at a young age. This would give future generations the ability to analyze and think more critically about everything. Our generation's number one problem is not thinking at all for oneself, but going with the flow and doing what the media says to do. Eliminating the use of money entirely is probably never going to happen. But by changing how people view and value money, we could change their idea of what is truly important in life. To change means to begin in our hearts and minds and then express this change out into the community. Going back to what Hannah Arendt said, we need to expand the sphere of influences in our lives. I find music to be a huge influence in my life, and with the proper message and style, we could slowly get all the commercial garbage off the radio and start a positive movement. The combination of philosophy and music would combine creativity with critical thinking, which could evolve the way we see things. These are kinds of ideas that our population needs in order to move forward and start living a more efficient, practical, and empathetic lifestyle. The Grateful Dead were a perfect example of a sub-society or network that grew and evolved together while spreading a positive message and having a good time. Major changes need to be made at the way we look at things. If we could change this teaching and thought process of our younger generations, we could eradicate misinterpretations of the good. That was a little early, but this would promote healthy thinking and compassion for our fellow humans. Philip Hale talks about the two types of ethical rules: negative ethics, where a person is decent and keeps their hands clean, and positive ethics, where a person takes actions and makes a difference. Our population needs positive ethics to be practiced, and we need to take affirmative actions at solving the problem of greed and this hunger for power that we have in our society. We need to be insistent in teaching moral values, critical thinking skills, and dispositions that contribute to social harmony. Goodness is acquired by continuously practicing it. My solution to greed would not work overnight, but with time, we could potentially have a world free of greed and the social pressure to spend a lifetime working for an imaginary creation also known as money. And now I'll show you a couple of media clips that I found to support my argument. Dr. A. Cheers.
Can you turn off the fan?
Okay, this video I feel really exemplifies the thinking problems in our society that need to be changed. Everyone feels that money is necessary and required for the world to go around, but really it's just destroying our world. This is another video that I found that blatantly describes the message I am trying to get across. I am sorry the video is kind of lame and gay, but here it is. Okay.